Hello, Lindsay Dragon here with Parenting Autism United. It's been a while since we've done a video, so we're excited to get back into the swing of things. But we are crafting while we're making this because it's two birds, one stone type of thing. And it is like that time of year where we got lots of stuff coming up. So we're going to be cutting some yarn to make a couple of things for our last 3 events of the year. One of my favorite little ornaments that we make, and our holiday market is coming up, are these little ornament hats. My younger son made this one with a lot of the scraps that we had. And then we also make, and this one's not done, we got to do the eyes and nose, but these little Santa Claus ones. So these are all little things that we'll be making, but I'm going to cut this to the length that we need to while we're doing this video. So lots of things happened tonight. It was the first middle school dance for Jackson, who is 11 years old in 6th grade. And tonight was the first dance that I got him to go to. The first dance that they had during the year, I gave him the choice. He said he didn't want to go. I gave him the choice, so I had to honor his decision. But that meant this time he didn't get a choice. I'm like, oh, we're going to a dance on Friday. Not, do you want to go? We chose, it was more important for him to have the social interactions than it was to have the choice, because he has choices all the day, all the time, every day. So we didn't give him a choice with this, and he's fine with it. If we had given him the choice, he would have said no. Well, we have a lot to unpack here. So this is a little warning. There will be some curse words. There will be some feelings and some things that I like to talk about with my son's personality sometimes that can really stink. And also are just things that are not easily understandable if you don't understand autism. But the way I'm going to talk about it, if you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, you may not want to listen. But it's very educational, and you should, and informative, even if it's just informative for dealing with my child. Because if he's like that, you can use a lot of these things with similar personalities, all right? And it's one of those traits with autism sometimes. So anyway, needless to say, it was not on my bucket list to attend a middle school dance anytime after middle school. So I was extremely just like I wasn't worried about it, but I'm nervous. I'm always nervous. Anytime we're around big groups of kids and I have my guy, I get nervous. So again, we were practicing as far as like, this is the schedule. So on Friday, Thursday we go to see Santa Claus, which we did that yesterday, Sensitive Santa, and it was great. And then, so Friday is, we go to the dance. So we prepared. I got him back into his clothes because he changes into pajamas right when we get into the car. And so that was one thing. The only concession that I did make was that I did make him put on socks, but I let him wear his sandals still because that's what he wanted to wear. I was not fighting that because it is a school dance, and I'm trying very, very hard to give him independence where normally I would just be all on him for that stuff. So, of course, we walk into this dance, and first thing is, it's like, oh, are you a chaperone? I'm like, well, no, I'm not a PTO chaperone. I'm his chaperone. I would have called ahead of time if I don't already work at the school, but because I already work at the school and I already have all my background checks, like I was just going to show up. I already knew some teachers who were going to be there, and I figured the principal would be there, who we already know. But typically, or if I don't already work at the school, which not in that building, but in the district, I would have called ahead like I've done prior. And I said, hey, like I need to be with him, essentially be his one-to-one so he can attend. So I walk in and I'm like, oh, I'm with him, and nobody questioned me. It was fine. And some of these students, so his school is grade 6, 7, and 8 for the middle school. When I was in middle school, it was 7, 8, 9. So, however, some of these 7th and 8th graders could have easily been in high school too. Some of them looked like they could have been in 3rd grade still. It's kind of all over the place. So we walk in, and the whole thing was I wanted him to do as much as he could. And this is one of my first little tips. Tip number 1. He had to pay $3 to get in. I had him do what I've been doing with him this whole time. I held out my wallet and I was like, grab what you need. And he kind of just grabs the money and hands it. And then the guy, he has no idea really what he gave him. And he also had no idea how much he was supposed to get back. Now, this is where I stood back a little bit. I already didn't want to make this like therapy, if that makes sense. I was taking it all in and seeing where these opportunities are that I can work with him in the future on. So we get not even through like getting our money back, and he's just holding the dollars. It was $3 to get in, so he had a 5. The guy gave him $2, which I had to make him take back. So that was good. But then he didn't know what to do with the money. So first step is paying. His wallet that I should have had money in and prepped him for ahead of time, like, hey, there's going to be a fee at the door. Like, I could have gone over those steps with him, but I wasn't thinking yet. It's been interesting time, but I kind of wanted to see what it was going to be like. This was our first event at the middle school. So when I got home, I was like, even if I had given him his wallet, it's like a kitty Velcro solar system wallet. So that's going to be in his stocking. Okay. So he's going to have a more age appropriate wallet. And anytime we go anywhere, he's going to have, because he has his own money in his own wallet. And I didn't even think about that. I wouldn't have made him pay for his own entry into the dance. I would have paid for it. But like I said, like he has to start dealing with this stuff himself. So new wallet, age appropriate wallet. He's not a baby. Doesn't need a solar system Velcro wallet anymore. So I was happy to see Miss Jackie. I was like, woohoo! That's who I need to talk to. Let's go over there. So we skedaddled right over there. I'm like, hello. And she was like, oh, his teacher. She's like, Riley's right over there. And I was like, yes. One, it's like anywhere you go as an adult. I don't care if it's a bar, if it's going into a big event, or if it's taking your kid with autism to the junior or to the middle school dance. It's always nice to know somebody. So we see our teacher, his teacher for his autism support classroom, and we're just like, hey. And she was there with another student that was hanging around her, and it was awesome to see her. And so we all kind of moseyed into the gym, and it was still kind of early. Now the gym was dark, and it was like glow, which is right. Like that's how a dance should be. DJ was amazing. And kids were like, lots of kids were like playing tag, like chase. It wasn't really like a dance type vibe, but people were, grooving. And so here's where we're going to get into some of the stuff that my son does. And keep in mind, all right, so I love my son more than my life itself. He is a salty mofo. He is so salty. And if you know him, I can say this with a smile because it's so funny. He was born that way. This is his personality. For Halloween this year, he was legitimately a salt shaker. Like, he is a salty guy. He has these little... The reason why I had to go with him tonight, first and foremost, is because currently, as in today, my main job was to make sure that he didn't pull the freaking fire alarm. All right. So that was number 1. Sorry. As we're leading up to going to the dance, his thing is asking questions about what would happen if he did these bad things. Now, you should just say, well, what if? And he'll usually answer you. And a lot of times he'll stop, but he's double, tripling down. And this has been going on for at least a month solid, maybe for the fire alarm thing. And he'll just and he'll go, and so what happens is he hates it when I sing songs. I've done posts about that before. Like, you sing along with the radio or even hum like the tune, like, whatever. So, if he does that, I get to sing a song on the radio. We've gotten up to like 26 songs because he just kept doing it at school and they would add up to the ones we do at home. I'm like, I have like a festival coming up. Like, I got a concert, we're here, and I am loving it because this has been years since he was like 2 years old, 3 years old. He has not allowed me, and I say allowed, I'm picking my battles, okay? Allowed me. And it coincided also with like car dancing. So I couldn't like tap on the steering wheel. I couldn't like get into it. He would like lose his shit in the car too. So I will be cursing a little bit, but my kids are still awake, so I'm not going all out. But sometimes if I get like heated or if I get like emotional, like it'll definitely come out. But just so you know, because who knows who's listening to this, when and where. But anyway, over the summer we got to where I was like, you have to pick one or the other. I can either sing or I can either dance. And he was like, you can dance. So I was able to like groove in the car. And but now if he says these bad things, I get to sing a song. So if it's not a song for that, I'm not allowed to sing. So I was nervous because he was saying before we left, so minutes before we arrived, 15 minutes before we were arriving, well, what if I do a lockdown drill? And I'm like, it's not attention seeking, but it kind of is. I don't know. He's doing it because he knows he's not supposed to. And I say, well, what if? And he'll say, I'm grounded. And I'll say, yes. And he'll say, for how long? And it's until further notice. And last time we did that, he lost his electronics for 4 months. So we will follow through with what we say we're going to do. That's the biggest thing. We do not give him empty threats because they don't work. So it's kind of pointless. But so he knows that if he does things that we will follow through. So my main goal at this dance was to check it out, make sure he doesn't pull the fire alarm, make sure he does not tell anyone that there's a lockdown drill and whatever. And then just to kind of like scope it out. I'm undercover, kind of, not really. Everyone knows who I am. Not everyone, but as far as like, I'm clearly a mom when I'm there. So we go in, it's kind of dark. Jackson has this obsession with like 4 girls. And I'll use different names for them just because. So anytime he's at school or talking about school, he wants to see these specific girls. And it's great. Now, these are not girls that are actively seeking him out. He is seeking them out. And he is, let's see. He has a space thing. He's a space invader. So he also can't see for shit. And even with his contacts, he's so used to going. So he gets right up in people's faces and he'll be like, are you so-and-so? And they're like, no. And then he just kind of goes. But then there's these other students, mostly all girls, that are so fucking nice to him. They're so nice to him. They're not only just like, hi, Jackson. They're like actively like, do you want to go over here? Let's dance. Let's do this activity. And if they aren't one of these like 4 girls, which granted, these girls could be fan-freaking-tastic, but they're not here. And it's not like they talk in school. I ask, I know, they don't have time to do this stuff. They were never best friends or like friends. All right. But he basically tells all these people to like, go fuck themselves. And it kills me because he's so rude with it. Now that is a trait sometimes that is commonly associated with autism. And it's just those societal norms because he really doesn't care if you're uncomfortable. And it's not that he doesn't care if you're upset, but those types of things don't make him uncomfortable. But if they do, he doesn't have a way to tell us that yet. Like he just doesn't, that's part of autism for him. Everyone's experience is their own. But so I'm watching these other students be so nice to him and so accommodating. It's just a word I'm used to using, but just like so open and inclusive. And he's basically like, And I'm just like, thank you, whoever you are. You're so nice. I love you. Sorry he's like that. But your name isn't Shelly. Whatever. So while we're waiting for these other girls to magically appear, I give him little tasks to do during these events. So his teacher got to see this, by the way. He has one dance move, and it looks like a fucking stripper. He throws his hands up, and then he does his little booty bump. And I don't know where he got this from. This happened 2 years ago at our Valentine's social, and I was like, where did you see this? Where did you learn to dance like this? What videos are you watching? Or what? Like, come on. Out of all the dance moves, that's the one you gotta go with. Can't it be, like the sprinkler, like Miss Goon was doing? Like, come on. Why does it have to be a stripper move? So funny, but then not. You know what I mean? Like, it's the only one he'll do. So we've had to say at these like events where there's dancing, I'm like, all right, you have to do 3 moves. So he only wants to do the one, he only wants to do that one. And I'm like, you have to do other moves. You have to. So, so when we get him to do these other moves, and it's so cute, but he's still dancing with his mom, still dancing with a teacher, adults and so I'm like, all right, in my head, I'm thinking, how can I make this better? Because I don't want to be here. I have no interest in a middle school dance. I have no interest in walking around with my son, who I need to give him social opportunities. I need to give him the skills to be an adult when I'm not here. That's what it comes down to. So I'm like, all right, next event, I'm going to pay a student, an older, probably student, to be here with him. That's my ultimate goal. All right. So he needs to be here and not with his mom. And he needs to, he has this thing where he'll only say hi to girls, which is great, but it's not because he likes only the girls. He just will not talk to a boy unless it's one of the kids in his autism support classroom. He's like, ew, those gross boys. I was like, you're a gross boy. And he's like, boys are the worst or something. And it's all a script from a video. But he takes this and he lives by it. So I've mentioned it multiple times over where we're planning our goals and this and that he needs to have friends or interactions with his male peers and not just the females. Well, you can't make people do things ever, and especially when it comes to students, you can't make somebody be somebody else's friend. So I was like, name a couple of your classmates, and I'm staying away from the word friend. Like, just who's in your school? What names do you remember? So he named the friends from his autism support classroom, but I don't think any of these other students typically go to these events because it's hard for families to do that. So, and I also want him to reach out to other friends and other classmates. And I know that these kids are nice to him because I'm here watching it. I'm here. They don't know I'm his mom. I could be his worker, his therapist. They see him with, Mr. Larry all the time. They've seen him with, all the others, Mr. Eric, Emily, Desiree, Nicole, Kate, they've seen him with adults all their life. So the other thing, while we got done dancing, and so now he's like, he's looking for these girls still. So we're like, okay. And he's like, I need water. So I'm like, let's go to the cafeteria. Well, they weren't open yet for serving food and water and whatnot, but the girls instantly recognized him as being him or a student with, special needs. Like, oh, he can come in. It's overstimulating. And I was like, win for Dallas, because these girls got it. I don't recognize them. They seemed a little older. They could have been in high school, but I found out later they were in 7th grade. That was amazing that they were like, hey, come on in. And I was like, yeah, take a break because pizza's coming and it's going to get wild in here. So we go over there, we buy our water, we sit down. It's great. He's wearing a white hoodie. Then the pizza comes in. I'm like, don't touch your hoodie because, he doesn't use the napkins. He just wipes it all on him. I'm like, that's all we need. So I went and we were good. And then the pizza came. And bless her heart. She's like, you want a piece of pizza? And he's like, he just walks over. I'm like, you have to say yes. You have to say please. Like, you have to say something. Interact a little bit. And I had to like prompt him to say these things. And she was just going to give it to him. I was like, well, how much is it? She's like, oh, it's free for him. I go, does everyone else have to pay? She's like, yeah. I'm like, how much is it? And it's $1. He will always think that he gets things for free if we don't have him do the things that other people are doing. Yeah, we do get a lot of extra things because we're, fucking deserve it. Okay. A lot of this stuff sucks. And, we just did the most beautiful sensitive Santa, but you know what? His everyday life is hard enough. So, however, when it comes to integrating into society and when it comes to trying to integrate and show inclusion the way that we want to, or the way that's going to best support him when he becomes older, I don't want him walking up and just taking pizza and walking away. Some people aren't going to know that he has autism or, think that he's just stealing and not paying, and then it could cause a problem. So anytime where there's an opportunity where we can learn and just practice, because it's all about repetition with him and with so many of our other friends on the spectrum, anytime. So I said, if everyone else has to pay, so does he. So I said, how much is it? She said $1. So I held my wallet out again and I said it again. Need to get him his wallet. He has his own money. I'll give him more money though for things like this. So we're good. So there's that. So he got his pizza and he ate it. So, but then Miss Jackie came back over, and I guess she does a lot with the student council. So she was kind of, supervising that area. And I was just, while I was waiting for him to eat, I figured, we'll just have a quick conversation with her because I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to stay. I told him 30 minutes and he had to do 3 different dances. We had to buy something from the concession stand and we had to find Miss Kuhn. So we did everything at that point. And I was like, I don't know how much longer we have, so we have to get going. So I instantaneously was like, how can I pay a student to come here with him next time, because it's not appropriate for me to be here with him as his mom. And she was like, well, this is perfect for our student council kids. And I was like, I don't want you to force somebody to be with him. It needs, from my perspective, it needs to be a mutual agreement, not a forced thing. I will compensate because you're going to work it. You're going to earn it. You're going to not have the time that you thought you were going to have with just your friends. So that's why I don't want to take that experience away from somebody who wants to be at the dance. I'll pay a high school kid, a college kid, or a middle school kid. I don't care. But that way I could still be there. I could be a chaperone then and be there in case. But then I thought, you know what? He doesn't need the whole time at the dance. Like, what if we did 30 minutes at whatever activity it is, even if it was like a football game or something, any kind of social activity. The first half of it, he partakes, and then the second half, he works at the concession stand or he does a job, maybe taking tickets, because then he could interact more with more peers in a more functional, not social way. So where they get more experience spending time with him, he starts to learn faces and hopefully model appropriate peer behavior, whatever. So not unfortunately, sorry. We were like, hey, this kid can do it next time. I was like, well, hold on. We could just think about it. Like, let's get the wheels turning and let's see how we can make this work. Because again, I don't want to force somebody to miss out on their time. When you sign up for something sometimes and then it changes, you feel like you're voluntold, not volunteering. So I want to make sure, because like I said, this is not going to be easy. Whoever it is would have to meet with us at least one time beforehand, before an event, because Jackson is not everyone's cup of tea. Like I said, throw a lot of salt on there. That'll be Jackson for you. Now, if you know him, then it's very different. But if you're just a new person coming in, we gotta talk. So I was like, all right, we're coming up to the end. Now he's still looking for these girls. All right. He finds one of them. So not only has he already told, and during this whole process, people are like, hey, Jackson, and he's just ignoring the shit out of them. It's not the person he's looking for, so you don't even exist right now. And it sucks. I'm like, I'm so sorry he's rude. I'm like trying to force him to say hi, because I'm like, you just don't be rude. Don't be rude. And his number one thing is he can be very rude. Now, it's that's the thing. Unless you know what's going on, he could really hurt somebody's feelings. And I say this all the time. Just because you have autism doesn't mean you get to be an asshole. And with that, I'm trying to give him these tools to, be kind, because not for nothing, dude, you're going to need a lot of help forever. You're going to need a lot of help. Do people want to help you when you're rude? No. People don't have to help you at all. Ever. Ever. And if you're going to act like a dick, you're going to get treated like one. So he doesn't care though. And that's where a lot of individuals are, where they just, that's the social part of autism, it doesn't exist there for him. It's killing me. It is killing me. So with that, we're walking out and he finds one of the girls, and this is the stage where everyone looks a little different, right? Some people have braces, some people have glasses, some people are, just whatever makes them them. A lot of the girls have their nails done. I've seen a lot of kind of the press-ons, or, age appropriate, I would say nails done. But tonight I saw the stiletto nails, the coffin. I was like, oh my gosh, these girls are legit, growing up. And so before we left the house, I did have him brush his teeth again, because he's such a close talker, and I assumed it would be dark, so he would even get more close. So at least I did that part. I should have had him, I thought about it, but I should have had him put on another dose of deodorant. But anyway, well, this little girl in particular had chipped her front teeth, when she was very young. So, waiting until children are of an age to get, cosmetic dentistry, and she's not there yet. And so the first thing that he says to her is something really inappropriate. Now, she's used to it because Jackson consistently seeks her out. But if he has braces, he'll say, why do you have braces? If you have glasses, he'll say, are you a nerd? But this far from your face. And so he's like, what's wrong with your teeth? And I'm like, oh my God. I think it's the same group that's always together. So they all knew it, but it doesn't make it any easier. She doesn't have to, she could say, get lost, dude. Stop being so rude. And it's not that he was being rude, but it doesn't make her feel good. You know what I mean? If somebody was beating down my self-esteem, my heart just broke, and I didn't know what to say. And I was like, I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But they all seem to take it with a grain of salt, even though he has so much to give. But I was just like, we really have to work on this. We have to work on this. And I don't know if it is manners. I don't think it is, but you know what I mean? I can't put this into an IEP, apparently. I guess I've put it in his goals, but it's not education based, right? So I'm frustrated. So then now I'm like hot. And he's still looking for, now he's looking for the other girl that he's been looking for this whole time. I don't know what these girls look like. All I know is their names because he says them all the time, which is super creepy, by the way. Super creepy. If, you know, I don't know how they feel. One of the moms I'm friends with on Facebook, and I've messaged her. I'm like, FYI, this is probably going to happen. Please prepare your child so that she's not uncomfortable. And we had a nice, conversation through, Facebook Messenger about it, but because I don't want, no. Again, just because you have autism doesn't mean everyone has to be your friend. Just because he's not being rude doesn't mean that somebody else isn't going to take it as being rude. So, with that in mind, I'm like, okay, we're going to just do one little lap. Let's do a lap. Let's look for this person one more time. Most of the kids were in the cafeteria, and I'm pretty sure I saw her go in there, and he did too. And I said, I think she's in the cafeteria, but he went through the gym, and I was like, okay, this is fine because there's hardly anybody in here. I got a little dancing going through the gym, and then we went out and around. We saw our principal, who's not going to be there soon, and that really sucks, but he was even, and it wasn't like he was mean, dismissive, ignoring, rude. I find it rude. He's my son. I know when he's being rude. It's okay. It's not fucking okay. It's not okay. Sorry. Came out wrong. It's not okay. So frustrating. And I don't know how to help him. And then we've been having these little conversations with his, RBT at the end of the day. And apparently there's just not all these social opportunities in school anymore. Like there were, there's not recess, and at lunch, they're not really allowed to talk that much and mingle or whatever. So I'm going to have to set up more social activities, but you can't force it because then it's weird. It's more weird if you force it. So now I'm like, okay, we have so much to work on, but again, I don't think any of this goes into an IEP. I don't think it does. Now, I can ask for certain things to happen. I can ask, let's make more opportunities. But this is all not things that have to happen. These are all things that I am setting up, that I have to coordinate and see if we can make it happen. Which is fine. That's my job. I'm his mom. I'm his advocate. This is my job, and I'm freaking happy to do it, right? So we end up leaving, and it was wonderful. It's a great thing. And there's one little thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is kind of new to us. Not new as in we've been hearing about it a lot, but we don't have a diagnosis or anything like that. So a lot of the things that go on with Jackson is just something that I thought initially was going to be ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder. Basically, they have to do the opposite of whatever, what I thought it was, is that they would have to do the opposite of whatever it is you put in front of them, because that's what Jackson does. Doesn't matter what you say, he has to say the opposite. If you say, the sky is blue, he's like, the sky is red. It's like, okay, we have school today. No, I don't have school today. And it doesn't matter what you say. It's like, this is spaghetti. It's like, no, this is steak. It's like a lot, it doesn't make sense. It's not getting him anything. It's just him saying the opposite to say the opposite. So I thought it was ODD, but we don't have a diagnosis for that. And a lot of these things that I've talked to our person about, our doctor, whatever, it's like, why give him another diagnosis? Because there's nothing you can do about it. There's, you're already doing ABA therapy and XYZ, and, the medications we've tried haven't worked. So I don't even need to give him that diagnosis. I'm like, if it's part of his medical history, you need to put it on there. I don't care if there's nothing we can do about it. If he has something medically, it needs to be in his medical chart. It's pretty simple. So this thing that people have been like, this sounds like Jackson. It's PDA. Paul, David, Adam, whatever. I can't remember which one it was. Pathological demand avoidance. So not ODD, but PDA, pathological demand avoidance. So last summer, one of our RBTs who was splitting their time, not last summer, the one before, with Jackson, came across this and was like, this is him. And then throughout his last year at the intermediate, our speech therapist was like, look at this. And I was like, we just learned about this, that it existed, but everything was still in Britain, the UK. And I was like, kind of don't have anything else to do with this, but it sounds good. Sounds great. Doesn't change anything though. So from what I could tell, from what I just Googled before I got on this, was the difference between ODD is that's oppositional defiance disorder, which is defiance, hostility, and anger towards authority figures. So the funny thing about Jackson is that he doesn't give a shit who you are. He could be a member, person of authority. You could be his brother. You could be the lady at the grocery store, in the aisle or in the checkout line, whatever it is. And this is, for PDA, it's more the anxiety and the need for control. And that is him to a T. It is exactly that, but there's still not a lot medication-wise yet, or therapeutic, like behavioral therapy, that I'm hoping to get more information on this as it goes, because it is him to a T. So we're going to have to come up with some social situations, which again, we can't force it. So that just means we're going to have to attend more events. But after meeting with the schools, giving speeches about, Parenting Autism United, what we do and how and why we do it, it's all because we're parents, kids with autism. And one person asked, how can we help them succeed? How can we help them? And my first thing was like, have some patience, because I learned this over the summer. Having him, if he's going to work that concession stand at the dance, better have a second line going, buddy, because it's going to take us much longer time to give back change, to go through and so you need to have patrons, customers, clients, whatever, who are more patient as well. So maybe there's 2 lines for pizza instead of 1, or not for pizza. I don't want him touching food. Nope. Even with the gloves on. Nope. It's just he for him, he doesn't understand. So what I would like for him to do is hand out the water bottles, take the change, even just be the greeter, whatever it is. But the people who are on the other side of that, and the people who are standing next to him, are going to have to be patient. And if that's something that somebody needs a lesson in, that's where I could come in and help. So they see it and they see I see what's happening. You know as well as I do, when you go to a grocery store line and you see somebody taking a little bit longer, or somebody who may not be moving as fast, if you're in a hurry, you don't go to that line. You go to a different line. You don't have to be rude. So if he's there helping you check out and he's having trouble with his fine motor skills or his math skills, which is what we're giving him the opportunity to learn, being patient is a requirement. And if you're not going to be nice, you're going to be asked to leave. That's why I have to have rules set in place so I don't lose my shit. Some idiot, being mean. But that's the thing. You are going to have mean customers. You're going to have people who just don't give a shit. And that's fine. That's your thing too. Go to the other line. Go to a different line. So this was just my experience for the first middle school dance, and how instantaneously the changes that I need to make for the next one are going to be implemented and be planned in advance. Biggest takeaways from this is I have to get something going on with these manners, and I have to get him away. Like if he had more of a schedule that I could have kept him on, like, all right, we're only going to do this part for 15 minutes, and then we're going to do the concession stand for 15 minutes, and then maybe the next time we do each one of those for 30 minutes, and then I'm good at building, and then, so on and so forth, to where he's spending the entire event there. It's a 2-hour long event. Like that would be cool. But also, maybe at the next event, the people who didn't go to his line, maybe they do. and he's learning, he's getting faster, and that's what it's all about. My goal is to not just teach him how to be with society. It's to help society understand how to interact with him as well. If a flower isn't blooming, you don't change the flower. You change the environment that it freaking grows in. Okay? It's pretty simple. It used to be on a wall all the time. So, yeah, I guess I'm kind of like, hey, if somebody wants to like be with him at social events, and not somebody, like if a parent is watching this and they think that their kiddo would like to be his kind of like friend, chaperone, like just, I don't know, modeling, not his, I'm saying somebody else in your area, think about that, because him having autism doesn't just affect us. He's in classrooms. He's going to be, working alongside or being a patron or a patient or a client of, individuals who are not on the spectrum and are neurotypical or whatever. So, I mean, we're all in this community. It's one community. And so I try to have a script for a lot of these things, and I'm sorry. My mind is all over the place. So overall, though, this is basically what we're talking about left and right, is our experiences and what we've gone through and how we came across it, how we're dealing with it, and then offering up, maybe if you're in this position, you can approach it better and not have to, not waste an opportunity. But yeah, I shouldn't have been at that dance with him as his like person. Somebody else should have been there, and not a therapist. Like, it never was going to work that way. But we do have a really fun project coming up in the summer to promote safe independence. And we'll talk about that at another time. This is kind of a long video. Sorry. However, hope you learned something. If nothing else, I got to vent a little bit. And I didn't go off the rails as much as I was going to, but it really comes down to, if he's rude, I'm so sorry. And he's going to be. He's so funny, though. He's so freaking funny, and he's so smart. And I'm not just saying that. Like, he's super smart, sarcastic. Oh, my gosh. That's what I was going to guess what he's been freaking talking about, in addition to freaking pulling fire alarms and lockdown drills and whatever. The movie freaking Sausage Party. I'm like, look. What? He's like, can I go see it at the Dietrich Theater? And I'm like, no. I'm like, and he hasn't seen it. He can't see it, but he knows what it's rated. He knows who produced it. He knows the actors who voiced it. He knows the IMDb world of that. And he also just knows that he's not allowed to watch it. So he's going to talk about it all the time. Last thing I need him to do is go into this freaking dance talking about Sausage Party. And I'm like, so I try not to say anything because that's giving him attention. But with him, planned ignoring is like a big F you, because you don't say it, he'll just get closer and closer and closer. And then if he'll hit you, he'll tap you and keep tapping you. And then, so, yeah, we can't be talking about that. So freaking Seth Rogen, man, thanks so much, dude. It's killing me. Did you really have to make that movie? Whatever. I know. All right. Well, please message us if you have any questions, comment if you got anything out of this, or if you had similar, whatever. Share your situations if you want to. We're here to support you in sharing how we've done it and connecting people with other resources. And this whole thing that we're doing hopefully will become a standard that the school now does, with providing opportunities for their kids with different abilities. As a friend of mine, acquaintance, Jimmy Martin said, diffabilities. It's hard to say. It doesn't roll off the tongue as much as I would like it to. Sounds good when you have to like diff abilities, but it's not my favorite, so I'm going to stop using it. It's not bad. It's just doesn't fit me. All right, well, I'm going to keep cutting these freaking strings so I can make lots of Santa Clauses and lots of hats, because our holiday market is this Sunday, November 30th from 10 to 3 at the Beyond Behavior Facility in 44 at 166 Slocum Street. It's on Facebook. Should be on our website as well. I have to check that out. Anyways, thank you. If you guys go to our website, parentingautismunited.org. And if you ever have a topic you want us to tackle, we can find people, like I know up to 6th grade dance parties. But we have friends on our board who have teens, adults. They've just transitioned into like adulthood, meaning adult services. Also, we have kids in like, 1st, 2nd grade, all different school districts. So if you have questions, ideas, something that you're looking for that you don't know exists, we just had, a couple people reach out to us for different topics that we posted on Facebook, and we got some good resources. So that's what we're here for. And we hope to continue to do that for you guys and that you're getting something out of it. But if you're not, that means we're missing the mark, and we need to give the people what they want. So let us know what you're needing, and we'll tackle those things. We have a few topics scheduled out for till the end of the year, and then we'll regroup and go from there. Alrighty. Happy holidays, because that's coming up. Next week's Thanksgiving. All right. Bye.